everybody, Rockin House here.
Mark Z, and welcome to another awesome episode of Season 2 of the
Rockin House.
Today's special guest we have all the way from Mesa, Arizona. We got Michael Beck. Michael Beck is sang for Jakey Lee's Red Dragon Cartel. He sang for Greg Chason, the bassist from Badlands, and Jakey Lee's band in a band called Kings of Dust. Rock dude.
Yeah, Jakey Lee, if we all know from history, he's the guy who stepped up to the plate and took over Randy Rhoads' place in the original Ozzy Osbourne band. How cool was that? So our friend today on the show was actually played in the Red Dragon Cartel, Michael Beck.
Yep.
And he has his own recording studio out in Mesa, Arizona. Sound Vision, one of the best out there. Great high range singer. He can go from hard rock to metal in a heartbeat. Just a great individual, and we're glad to have him on the show today.
Absolutely. Let's bring on Michael Beck to the Rockin House. Welcome to the Rockin House, Michael Beck. All right, this is Marky Z, and I'm with my partner, Rock Dude. Welcome to another awesome episode of Season 2 of the Rockin House. I have special guest today from Mesa, Arizona, which he said it's like 100-something degrees there, as our special guest. Welcome, Michael Beck, to the show, bro. Glad to have you.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Well, we got it. We're finally here to do the show. Let's start with how you became a singer. So what are some of your influences? That, you know, I see you have a Led Zeppelin shirt. That kind of tells me right there Robert Plant's obviously one.
Can't go wrong there.
No, hell no. Absolutely not. You influenced many of us.
I mean, I'm like most guys my age. Kiss was the entry point. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember the Paul Lynde show pretty well. So,
Oh, my God. Paul Lynde. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Paul Lynde.
For guys our age, that was basically, Ed Sullivan with the Beatles. That's what it was.
Yeah, man. Yep. Okay,
So I got in there.
Okay, so Kiss, once again, we hear this so much from our guests, me included.
Oh, I'm sure.
Kiss has started it for all of us, man. It's their fault. No, man, we love Kiss and what they brought to the industry. Absolutely. Let's start with how you started. Like, what was the time you started saying, hey, man, I want to become a singer or a professional singer, if you were thinking that?
Well, it was actually in high school. I think it was my junior year. My best friend was a bass player, and we started a band called Witchcraft.
Nice.
And I was actually a guitar player.
Okay.
And a rhythm guitar player. We had a really good lead guitar player.
Sweet.
And so I played rhythm, and then I still don't know to this day if it was because the bass player sang a little bit.
Okay.
And every time a new song would come up, they would say, well, let's let Michael sing this one. And I don't know if it was because I was good or he was bad. I don't know what it was. But
Yay, one way to find out, right?
but that's how I got into it. And then by the end of that band, I wasn't really playing much guitar. I was mostly just singing.
Okay, so that's where you found the passion that, well, I obviously have a singing voice and I can hone this and become a vocalist. And then you went from the guitar to the vocal. Okay, so we're talking like in the teens when you did this, right? I'm thinking, yeah?
Yeah, like junior in high school.
Okay, awesome.
And then literally right out of high school, I mean, literally right after I graduated, I was in a band called Brigade in the Midwest.
Okay.
And we started touring right away.
Wow.
And did a demo and got some radio play and
Nice.
Had a little bit of local success to speak of, and that's kind of how it started. That was my first touring band.
Wow, and that came right after playing in a high school band.
Right after high school.
You can't beat that. That's pretty quick. Okay, so from there you got a little touring experience. You got kind of like local stardom, and that was a kind of cool taste as a young kid. Starting out as a vocalist with a band, Brigade. That's cool. Then you went on to later on into these other bands that national level. You sang for Jakey Lee. We all know him from Ozzy Osbourne. 2 major albums, Bark at the Moon and Ultimate Sin as a guitar player. Of course, Badlands after he went from Ozzy to that. And you sang with Red Dragon Cartel.
Yeah.
How awesome was that, and how long was that?
It was a couple of months. It wasn't very long.
Okay.
I got in the band in like February, and I bowed out in May. So
okay.
You can't. It's hard to knock playing with Jake. He's who he is for a reason.
Right. He's phenomenal guitarist. Absolutely. You're right about that. I always liked Jake when he first came out, and then Badlands came out. I was totally hooked. Loved it.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man. Still to this day, I love it. All right, so Badlands, and of course, a Red Dragon Cartel, and then you moved into what, Kings of Dust, and singing for this band, and that's Greg Chason, again, original bassist from Badlands.
Yeah.
How awesome.
Yeah, we had been writing Kings of Dust actually before Red Dragon Cartel came along.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So once we kind of both weren't in that band anymore, we picked it back up and released the Kings of Dust record. It was March last year, right in time for the pandemic. It was great time.
Right? Oh, man. Thank God that's starting to clear up. And, we got shows. We're able to get out and play and do some things, which is kind of cool. Okay.
Looking forward to that.
So, yeah, absolutely. And, of course, you did some, work again with Greg, as you said, with the Kings of Dust, but no longer with it. So now, is there any other bands other than these ones that I'm naming that you've played in that maybe, wow, I had no idea Michael even was in that band?
Yeah, there's a couple. There's I actually kind of, from when I first moved, I lived in the Midwest.
Okay.
And when I first moved to Arizona,
okay,
the first band I was in was a band called Nevertheless.
Okay.
And the bass player was Kenny Chason.
Really?
So he was Greg's brother from Kiel.
Nice.
And
okay.
Spent a couple of years doing that. And then that was probably 94.
Okay.
We did one record that never really went anywhere. And I kind of put everything away and concentrated on the studio part of it.
Gotcha.
I had just kind of gotten into that part of it, and it just kind of snowballed.
Okay.
And so I concentrated on that until like the early 2000s. That was really kind of my main focus. I didn't sing in any bands or anything like that. Okay. And then by really just a fluke, it was somebody that knew somebody, I can't remember. I was actually the singer for Leatherwolf.
I love Leatherwolf. You sang for them?
I did.
You won one of the rounds?
It was right when they were kind of staging their comeback. And
wow.
Their singer couldn't do it, and I went to Los Angeles and laid down some tracks, and we were full-fledged ahead, and then some things happened, and they wound up getting their original singer back, and you always do better with your original singer, and I understood it. But walking away from that, Jeff Gare, who is their lead guitar player,
okay,
I remember walking away from that project thinking, man, that guy is underrated, for sure.
Leatherwolf's good. Huge. I was liking that band back when they came out. Absolutely. Wow, that's really cool. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to come back with Michael in just a moment and talk about how he also did broadcasting some radio stations as well in just a moment. All right, I'm back again with Michael Beck. Welcome back, Michael, here at the Rockin House. Pretty cool, some of the stuff you've been doing, man. It's a shame with Leatherwolf, they're an awesome band, but hey, you had some opportunity other people maybe would have loved to have done. At least you were in the studio recording with them, got to meet those guys, and who knows what down the line that might bring. You never know when you make connections like that. But let's talk about, radio stations. Now, I believe you've done some broadcasting for some of these stations. I guess
did.
where, in Arizona? Would that be?
Yeah, but both in Arizona, and
Okay.
it was a thing I just kind of fell into. It was like, I think it was 98, 99.
Okay.
There was, I had been in Nevertheless, the band, and hadn't done anything for a while, but one of the people that knew me from that band works for the radio station.
Got it.
And asked me to do this kind of local music show.
Nice.
Where it was called the Local Music Spotlight, and I played bands from around Arizona and spotlighted them and talked about them and did interviews and stuff. So that worked out really well. And then I kind of got into broadcasting a little bit more and
nice.
Did some mostly fill-in stuff for shifts, but became basically a DJ. And, having a mic in front of my face wasn't obscure to me.
No, of course not. And I want to interject on that about the local bands and basically showcase them, because here in Philadelphia, where we're at, we have what they call Jackson's Local Shots, where they do the same thing on WMMR 93.3 FM. So what you're doing was basically the same thing they're doing. That's Jackson's Local Shots. Very cool.
Same thing.
So how long did you do the broadcasting? I think you did a couple radio stations, it looked like, right?
I did. I worked at, it was an alternative rock station,
Nice.
Soundgarden and Nirvana. And I did that for about 3 years.
Okay.
Until 2001, I think. And then I worked as a DJ, a classic rock radio station, as a regular DJ.
Okay.
KDKB, which was a heritage station here in Phoenix.
Okay.
And I worked with them for about 2 years. And then it just got to be where, radio has changed in that time period so much. I fortunately got in on the end of good radio. And after that, it changed and it just wasn't fun anymore. And I was pretty busy with the studio. So I just went full time with the studio.
All right. So that's the next thing we're going to talk about is sound vision. I see it right there in the background on the screen. This is your recording studio that you built to hone your craft. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about, how that came about with you. What gave you the passion, like we all as musicians want to do our own thing, or, have a way to bring our craft to the world?
Yeah, I right before I had moved to Arizona, I had several record deals with bands in the Midwest and did a lot of touring. And did a band. I sang for a band called Manila Thrills, and we toured for 4 years. I
Okay.
mean, all over the United States. We did a record on a small label. The guy that produced it was a guy named Tom Tapman, who had just done the Tora Tora Little America record.
Oh yeah, okay. I remember Tora Tora.
And
Yeah.
I love that record. Great record. So that's why we chose him.
Okay.
And he is still a guy that I talk to. Tom is a great guy. He's been a mentor of mine. I don't talk to him a lot, but once every couple of years, I'll talk to him and see where things are at. Just kind of pick his brain. He's a really knowledgeable guy. But
Nice.
while we were in doing that record, I was a singer in a band. I wasn't really interested in anything else.
Yeah, the other part of it, like the engineering end of it.
But
I get
he
it.
kind of pulled me aside and said, hey, I know you probably don't care about this because you're pretty busy with what you got, but you're pretty good at this studio stuff. So if ever you want to do that, call me and I'll help you out. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. But once I got to the point where I was in a touring band and doing that full time,
Okay.
you quickly realize that when you come off tour and you've got like 6 weeks where you're not touring, you're also broke.
Yeah, imagine that with us rock and rollers, right?
So I started doing demos and stuff for other bands because just to make money.
Gotcha.
And, to kind of fit into my schedule of a touring schedule.
Yep.
And I got one of the bands signed, and then they asked me to do the record, and then it just kind of snowballed.
That's
and
awesome.
By the time I moved to Arizona, I was still doing that. And so it was kind of a natural progression.
Wow, how cool. So right now, before the pandemic, of course, you probably had some work. You probably had bands that you were recording, getting something, maybe even getting ready to sign some of these bands or helping them.
Yeah.
And then this hits, and then it's like, rains on your parade, right?
The Kings of Dust record came out on March 13th, which was the day they announced the lockdown. So, I mean, we couldn't have timed that any better. It was just perfect timing.
Wow, maybe you could change the name of the album if you were able to, like Pandemic Dust or something.
Well, it had already come out. We'd done all the work. It was there.
That's
it
a
came
shame.
out, and then boom, nothing.
Wow, that sucks,
So,
man.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was not good timing.
Okay, so with the studio, we still got it running. Obviously, it didn't take you down to the point where you had to give it up. Thank God that didn't work out that way for you, which towards a lot of people.
I've stayed, not as busy as I was, but I stayed busy.
That's good.
I kept projects rolling. Most of the bands that I do are, baby touring bands and touring bands in general.
Okay.
So I don't do a lot of hobby band stuff.
Okay.
So most of those touring bands took advantage of the downtime and, made a record. So
right.
now that things are opening up again, they're ready to tour.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I did a fair amount of records between then and now.
Very awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you what, we're going to come back with Michael Beck and talk about this new project. He has some revealing of whatever he wants to tell us in just a moment. Be right back.
Every year we're all riding high, collective promise streets. Just keep a piece of that holiday cheer. Remember all that it brings. Of emotion.
right, this is Marky Z again. I'm back with Michael Beck. Wow, some interesting things you've been talking about, of course, with Sound Vision Studio, and you still had it rolling even through the pandemic, which is great news to hear. Now let's talk about Michael Beck's surprise, awesome new project that he has a little revealing to tell some people, and we're going to let him tell you about it from his standpoint where it's at right now, which we're all excited. I'm sure there's a lot of people waiting to hear about it.
Well, it's in the infancy stage, but there's some writing going on.
Nice.
I can't really say who's in it and what's going on yet because some of the pieces aren't solid.
Got it.
But
sure.
Right now I'm working with a keyboard player, a bass player, and a drummer.
Nice.
And we're going to start. We've already started writing.
Very good. Very good.
We got some of that. We're probably going to go into the studio probably at the end of this month to demo some stuff out.
Nice.
The one thing I am looking for is a national level guitar player like the guys I've been playing with.
Absolutely. Understand completely.
I have a guitar player that's going to come in and do the studio work, at least to kind of get things rolling.
Nice.
But I am looking for a smoking hot, gun-slinging guitar player that knows his stuff, can tour a little bit, and is ready to roll. That's what I'm. So if you're that guy, then PM me and let's get this thing rolling. Because I would, if everything works out right, and it never does, but that's okay. But if everything works out right, I would like to have a record out, this fall, this winter, and then tour, maybe do some shows even yet this year and definitely into next year. So that's kind of the plan as of now.
Well, I'll tell you what, since you're mentioning that, and I'm sure I'm speaking from my partner as well, and I will not reveal any names, but I think I may know somebody that would be an awesome fit for you, and we'll just leave people hanging at that. And yes, he is national level guitar player, played with some of the most amazing names in the business. All right, with that being said, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, man. So, all right, so we got this project, we're working on it. Do we have like an album of music already, or of course you're like throwing the 50 songs, 40 songs, 30 songs, and then we're going to pick the best 8, 9, 10 of them to put the album together?
Yeah, we're probably we're about 4 or 5 songs in.
Okay, so it's pretty. Yeah, it is infancy.
It is. It's definitely infancy stage, but I think we'll probably get 6 or 8, and then we'll choose 2 or 3 to kind of demo in the studio and kind of get things rolling, and maybe do see how it goes from there. But I'm real excited about it. It's still got a very, hard rock 70s, 80s theme.
Nice.
But since there's a keyboard player, it's got a little bit of added stuff to it. I'm really anxious to introduce, some of the stuff that I have really been into from the 70s, more of the Foreigner and early Journey and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about that part of it for sure.
Nice. Now, do you have a name picked out?
Not a one.
No, okay. All right. Well, I'd start ask. Just trying to see where I can, tiptoe around here to see the right questions to ask you, Michael.
No, I mean, I think we're trying to see, what it sounds like. I mean, I know what I would like it to sound like. But,
makes sense.
Where Kings of Dust was definitely 70s rooted and a little more in the Deep Purple Led Zeppelin vein.
Yep.
I'm seeing this, like I said, as a little more 70s Foreigner, early Journey.
Nice.
Maybe the Babies. And a little bit of a Southern tinge to it too. So
wow.
Maybe a little Skinnerd in there too. So I'm really excited about it.
This is awesome. Okay, so we're going to have to definitely maybe have you come back when it's ready and bring the big reveal. Maybe do a special Rockin House about the big reveal of this super band. What do you think?
Would be great.
I think Rock Dude would love that. I know we would, and I know our fans that are watching would absolutely, and whoever was new to watching us as well would also love that. And we'll keep you guys posted on that if we do wind up rescheduling or a new show with Michael. All right, so This sounds
We will.
good to me, man. Sounds good to me. So Michael, is there anything that your fans that know of you or people that know of the band you played with that are following you, that they have something to look forward to of anything besides this other project that you're working on? Or is there anything that you're going to be doing into the future that's besides this, or that's the main thing that you're focusing on right now?
I mean, my day job is this here.
Okay.
So I'm actually working with a really good young band right now called Subcontra.
Nice.
Very Corrosion of Conformity, Black Sabbath, but they're all like 20.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Really good band. I just finished a more punk-oriented record with a band called TV Tragedy.
It's cool.
Really good. They just put the record out.
Wow. Okay.
I'm doing a solo record for a guy named Jeff Crawford with My Own Kingdom. He used to be the singer for Adam's Fall, which had a little bit of success 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm recording and producing a lot of good stuff that I'm excited about, and of course the band that I'm, pieces parts are still coming together, but I'm really looking forward to getting that done for sure.
That sounds awesome, man, and we're looking forward to hearing it and who's going to be in it and the big reveal. I think it'll be exciting to bring you back on the Rockin House and reveal it to everybody. That'd be pretty cool.
It's like I said, it's still in that Kings of Dust kind of thing. I mean, that's how I sing. It's not that much different, but the elements are kind of pulling it in a different side of the 70s,
Very
which
cool.
is cool.
You can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with that.
Can't go wrong. Yeah.
Awesome,
Absolutely.
man. So let me ask you this a little bit on some gear and things like that. Vocal wise, what is your preference of microphone that you like that you feel you like to use?
I have the best vocal microphone in the history of man.
You do?
And I'll tell you what it is. I used to do a lot of stuff with the Neumann U87.
Okay.
I still do. I have a pair of Neumann 67s that I use a lot for like drum overheads and different stuff. But
right.
the best vocal microphone that I've ever come across, it's called a Manley Tube Reference. And I've had it for about 10 years now.
Wow.
We did the Kings of Dust record here. That microphone is all over it.
Wow.
It's just a great microphone. It's got a tube sound to it, but as opposed to a lot of tube microphones where if you hit them too hard, they kind of start to break up. This breaks up in a good way. The harder you hit it, the better it sounds. So
wow.
That's kind of my go-to vocal and the one I use as well.
Wow, it sounds like he's got a microphone that's like one of the Marshalls or the ones that are tube amps, man. The hotter they get, the hotter the amp sounds. That's too cool with vocals, man. That's awesome. How cool is that?
And then my own personal preference is that microphone into a Neve designed ISA 110 mic pre, into a 1970s hand-wired DBX 165. And that's my vocal chain.
Wow, that's your secret to get them good vocals. And,
Absolutely.
And those are names I've never really, to be honest, ever heard of. But hey, if they're doing what you need, that's it. Bottom line.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Michael, it was awesome having you as a guest on our show. And again, we're definitely going to bring you back if you're interested to come back and the big reveal of this new project.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to say Marky Z with my partner, Rock Dude. Thank you again. Stay safe. Keep rocking.
Another reason on why you can't do it is step into the light. Oh, into the light. Another version of it's not nice. should say follow through.